Alright, hey guys. I'm gonna go ahead and go over the two platforms I've used to backtest over the last couple of years. I guess almost 2 years now. Those two platforms are gonna be TradingView and FXReplay. There are pros and cons to both, and so I will be reviewing from my extensive time that I've spent on FXReplay and the extensive amount of time I've spent on TradingView, what I like and dislike about both. Starting with FX Replay. On FX Replay, this is FX Replay without any kind of subscription. If you look up here, it's free. You'll first load onto the dashboard and you'll click on sessions. You'll create your first session. You'll name your session. You'll set your account balance. Now, the way to get around not having access to futures contract is using CFDs. CFDs react similarly. They're not exact, but for not paying for anything, it's a pretty solid option. For that, you just look up NASDAQ and you go to CFD data. I've always used Dukas copy or whatever it's called. And then US 500 is like a mock of the, of kind of, I don't know, it's like a mock of the S&P. Your second option after that is you can have a random date, which will do some random date and time FX Replay chooses, and you do it to the current day. And there is a lot of data. You can go back to July 21st, 2014, as it says right here, or you can choose your own date by just clicking the calendar and coming in here and doing your own thing. Let's assume we go to July 1st, 2017 at 8:30. We're going to go ahead and enter. And I'm not going to go ahead and do like a full like back testing thing because that seems like kind of a waste. But I applied a layout because there used to be a layout that I would use. This is called an ICT indicator. It's one that FX Replay made. You can configure it however you like. It's not that bad. It does opens, it does sessions. There's some vertical lines you can add, that kind of thing. It's not great though. But before we go into the bad stuff, I would say that FX Replay is awesome because it's really user friendly. This is how you go back and forth. This is the speed at which you go. You can set the time at which it updates. And there's tons and tons and tons of historical data. I think that's probably the biggest thing. With TradingView, it does get capped. There's only so much historical data you can use for each time frame. Whereas here, you can go as far back as 2014 and test as much data as you would like throughout there. Now, going on, also, this is basically just TradingView. And then you enter by entering in a quantity down here, and then you buy an update. And then you just either play or you press forward like that, and that updates the candle as you go forward. So, like, I don't know why it's not updating. It's not updating at all, actually. So technical difficulties with FX Replay, I guess, do exist. But regardless, I used to use them a ton. I would do hours and hours, dozens of hours of back testing every month on here. Now, the biggest thing I would say is they also have a news section, which I think is really, really awesome. And they also have an order where you can say here with a stop loss and take profit preeminently. But that's its own thing. Now, they also have a journal, by the way, which I think you can go to, which I think brings you to Notion. I think they're partnered with Notion, not totally sure. Notion's who I use now for journaling. The biggest downside, I would say, in this scenario is this little editor button up here. Well, first, their indicators are very limited. They have indicators for like your very basic stuff, for Bollinger Bands, for, there's a variety of things you can look at. But, they've actually added some new stuff since I was around. Ooh, that's horrible. Yeah, but they run on, I think, PineScript version 1, I think, which is very hard to code in, first of all, and it's very limited. So it doesn't allow for you to do a whole lot. So I've tried working through it and trying to make it work, and I have never been able to make my indicators work on here. And I don't know version 1 PineScript, so that also makes it harder. I've tried making scripts. It has not worked. There are some ones in the community that people have made that are pretty cool, but still, they're just generally speaking pretty limited. Now, overall, as far as FX Replay goes, if you don't mind about indicators and you want to draw it yourself, this is a great option. Fantastic. You should come check this out. It's a sweet option. I've used it a lot. With the free tier, there's only so many trades you can take in a backtesting session, and you can only have 2 historical sessions at a time before you have to delete one and start a new one. If you upgrade, of course, you get more sessions. There's other perks that you get. I had an upgraded version at one point simply for futures data because I wanted futures data, but that's just me. So it's not like anybody's expected to do that. I don't know why it's not working on Nasdaq. It's working on US 500 though. Anyways, let's go over to TradingView now. That's about everything here. It has all the same functions as TradingView. It's about it. Now, moving on to TradingView. There we go. Okay. Ooh, we've opened a new week. Lovely. Moving on to TradingView. As long as we have a more than free tier TradingView subscription, we can do replay. And replay is this up here. Let's say I want to replay the last Thursday right before market open. Beautiful. Or I guess that's right at market open. But regardless. Okay, so this functions very similarly to FX Replay, but you don't have the same amount of historical data. So if you try going super far back, if you open up the 1 hour and you load a bunch of data, it'll take you super far back, and you go to November of 2024, and then you try to open the 1 minute. It says data point unavailable. Historical data for this resolution is unavailable for this time point. So you can't go that far back in time on lower time frames. You can go years back on higher time frames on like the 1 hour, the 4 hour, the daily, things like that. But if you want to trade the 1 minute or the 5 minute, you have to stay rough. I don't know exactly what it is, but if I had to guess, it's roughly within the last 6 months to a year. Is probably what I would cap it at. So beyond that, let's say we were doing market open right over here. And we load in. If we are on the 1 hour, and if we go down to the 1 minute here, and it says, okay, this is 9, but I want it to be 9:30, you can choose to update these intervals by 1 second, a minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, up to whatever time frame you're on. This auto select interval just chooses the interval that you are on. So if you're on the 1 hour and you have the auto select interval on, it's going to update by every hour as soon as you press that. So now it's going to be, this is now past market open, and this is now 10. So if I wanted to update this by 5 minutes, but only by looking at the 1 hour, you just change the update interval. So you turn this off, and I could just choose the 5 minute, and now the hourly is going to update in 5 minute increments. So now this is the first 5 minutes of the 10 o'clock hour. The benefits, in my opinion, of TradingView is, one, we all mostly trade on TradingView, so it's native. It's native user interface. We know how to use it. We're very familiar with it. 2, you get all the indicators you like, all your invite-only scripts, all of the indicators you may have made, whatever it may be. You have access to those here. You have access to your indicator layouts. You have access to your chart layouts. You have access to, anything you would want. It's all very interconnected within TradingView. TradingView is kind of one all be all situation. The one thing I would say is you don't have that historical data. So that's really the biggest thing you're giving up. As long as you have a paid subscription in TradingView and you're paying for CME data, then I would personally choose TradingView just because I get access to my indicators and I don't want to personally draw all of the levels that my indicators draw. That's why I made the indicators. That's literally the whole point. So I would say I would definitely choose TradingView. But once again, to each their own. So that's probably going to wrap up this video. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope this was resourceful, and I will see see you as the week progresses. Possibly doing some updates. We'll see. How it going, guys? Thanks for watching.